We've got a new king for driver of the year, and we have a fairly sizable wreck that we are going to dissect in this week's safety update. Hello, welcome to Safety Update with Sam. I don't even think I have to say who I am anymore. Well, you know what? We do have some new drivers on the fleet here. So if you don't know me, my name is Sam. I guess I don't want to be rude, but for those of you who've been here for a while, you know who I am. And I am the safety supervisor at Meiborg Brothers and Silver Arrow. So if we haven't met, howdy. I don't want to say howdy. I'm not in Texas. Anyways, we've got a lot to unpack here today in this week's safety update, so let's get to it. If you were unable to attend the holiday party last weekend, you missed a good time. I think their last count was like over 200 people, office staff and drivers, even some warehouse guys snuck in, and it was a great time over there at the Hoffman House. And during or right before we ate, they gave out a couple awards. And one of the awards was for Driver of the Year. And this year's Driver of the Year is none other than Eric Watley. So congratulations, Eric. I'm sure everybody on the fleet probably knows who you are because I think you've talked to everybody on our fleet. So if you don't know Eric, he loves to talk. He's always got great stories. So, but congratulations, Eric. We also did... What else did we do? We did Shop Employee of the Year, which went to Vicky back in the warranty section. We did Warehouse Employee of the Year, which went to Thad Gomez. And then we did Office Employee of the Year. And that actually went to not me. Okay? I think the voting was rigged. I can't prove it, but I think it was. But no, it went to Lindy, who has been transitioning from CSR to planner. And little known fact, okay, here, I'm going to give you a little exclusive, little known fact. Me and Lindy actually went to high school together. So I love that we've got an alum that won it this year. She's representing us greatly. So congratulations, Lindy. Congratulations to everybody who won an award at the banquet. And like I said, if you weren't able to make it, you missed a great time. Make sure that you pencil it in for next year. It'll probably be around the same time after Christmas. So make sure you pencil that in for next year. Anyways, okay, now we are going to look at some dash cam footage here. I believe you've all seen it already. And it is one, I know the year is just young, so I don't really want to make this statement, but it's the worst wreck that we've had so far in 2024. Hopefully, it'll be the worst wreck that we do have in 2024. So let's go to the dash cam. Okay, so like I said, a lot of you have seen this already because I did send this out. Zach wanted me to send it out to make sure you guys saw it and to really talk it through. And I really appreciate all the comments we got back. I think at last count was like over 50 text messages back from you guys watching this video and looking at what went wrong and what you guys can do to avoid something like that. And I think also this video on our YouTube surpassed any of my safety update videos. So really? But anyways, this is an important one. And so I got a lot of questions back on it. I tried to answer a couple of them. But let's watch this video, and then afterwards we can kind of talk through what happened and what you guys can do to avoid a similar thing. So we are pulling out of a parking lot in a truck here. As you can see, we're all the way, we're pretty close over to the left, which is, you know, decent placement, making a pretty wide turn there. But as you saw, the driveway was fairly narrow, and as we're pulling out, the back wheels do end up sliding down to the ditch, and that is kind of the end for that trip right there. As the truck falls gently to its side, it really laid down pretty gently. It kind of twisted from all the way the back to the front. So that's about as easy as a lay down as you could probably do, which depending on who you ask, might actually be almost worse for the truck because it has time to twist the chassis and all that kind of stuff. It almost might have been better if it just slammed onto its side, but in any case, this was, it is what it is. So going back to the beginning here. Now, I will say the driver was okay during this. As you can see, it really wasn't much jarring. He had a seatbelt on, which is very important because if he didn't, he would have fallen way to the inside and maybe broken the window on there. It could have ended badly. So always make sure that you wear your seatbelt. Okay, thank you. But as you can see, he's not as all the way over to the left as he possibly could be, but he's a decent amount. But as you see, that's a pretty deep ditch over there to the right of him. And now this wasn't a shipper or a receiver. This is a parking lot that this driver parked his vehicle for home time. So a couple guys asked, where was this so I can make sure I don't do it. It's just a parking lot, okay? So no shipper or receiver. This isn't their driveway. But I do know a lot of shippers and receivers have similar driveways like this. So it's always a good idea to still watch this. But you can see how deep that was over there. And you can even see it's kind of crumbling. It doesn't look like the structure of the driveway is that great. And as he's pulling out, when those back wheels got in it, and this is what the driver told me, when the back wheels got in, it just took his truck down. There really wasn't much he could do. The ground kind of started to give way on him, and that's when he just couldn't do anymore. You can see the hood starting to buckle, meaning the chassis is twisting, and down he goes. So driver's okay, and this did happen down in Texas. So, it's kind of ironic that with all the weather we've been having, all the good jobs that you guys have been doing out there in that weather, that this is where we end up tipping a truck onto its side. But regardless, that just goes to show you got to be, diligent in every condition, even if you don't think there's really any imminent dangers to watch out for. There is. Now, a lot of you guys hit the nail on the head, and it's very difficult to see in this video, but the trailer tandem axles were slid all the way back, which I believe was ultimately the undoing of this rollover or of this tip over, I guess. I don't think we can call it a rollover per se, but this ultimately is what did it. Was the tandem axles were all the way back. It was a heavy load, and when you are going to do that, this is the kind of stuff you have to be extra careful of. If his tandems were slid up, he probably would have never even touched the ditch, and he would be delivering that load maybe today. But unfortunately, with the tandem slid all the way back, this is the dangers that you have to watch out for. Now, I will tell you guys that this is not going to be a cheap fix. The trailer is most likely going to be completely totaled. The tractor, we are waiting to get that back to see. But like I said in the text, when all is said and done, this is probably going to be a $350,000 mistake made by this driver. I know just to get the truck tipped back up and get the freight off the back of there, it costs 18 grand. So that right there is really costly too. So again, we show you guys these dash cams so that you can take a look at what happened and what you would do in a similar situation. Maybe there was another driveway that this driver should have gone out of. Maybe he should have taken a left instead of a right. This is why we watch these dash cam videos, because I want you guys to think through what you would do in this situation. Maybe right about here, you would say, uh-oh, I'm not gonna make this. Let's back it up and let's retry it. I mean, that's what you ultimately have to be thinking. I'm sure the driver was looking in his mirror and going, ooh, it's gonna be close. But like we saw at the entrance there, the ditch over there is not very structurally sound. So he had to have known that once you start getting those wheels over near that ground is probably going to give way. So keep that in mind as well, because really, ultimately, I mean, honestly, I have to say this, but it's true. I don't want to ever see this again. I don't want you guys to get in a situation like this. I don't want the equipment to get in a situation like this. I don't want our freight to get in a situation like this. And it all could have been what I think avoided if he was just a little more careful going around that corner and thinking, oh, I can't make this. Let's back up and let's try again. I'll have you back up and try again 15 times if it helps avoid something like this. And then one other thing I want to point out, if you ever do find yourself in this situation, which again, I hope you never do, if you are starting to feel that truck start to tip, like right here, the driver knows that this truck is gone. He's not bringing it back, the hood's buckling. I know that adrenaline's going to be running high, and I know that your thoughts are going to be elsewhere. But one thing to think of is, if possible, turn the key off. Okay, turn the truck engine off. That will avoid a lot of oil and other fluids getting into places that it shouldn't be getting into. Now, yes, it'll run down and whatever, but there's still pumps running while this is going, and now it's on its side. So if you in fact, at the end there, you can even see a little bit of fluid falling out into the engine there. So again, I know that there's going to be a lot going on in your mind, but if you think of it, try turning the truck off. Okay, that'll help a little bit too. So again, you all saw this, you all gave me your feedback, and I appreciate that, and that's exactly why we like to send this stuff out, so that you guys can think through these situations and figure out what you would do in that. Unfortunately, this was a tough loss, and it's going to be a costly one, and I seriously do not want you guys to be in it. So always double check. Okay, and if your tandems are slid back, which I understand sometimes with the weights that we pull, you have to do it. That just means you have to be that much more cautious. Okay, so make sure that you're being cautious with this. Make sure that you're taking all the proper steps. Get out and look if you're having some if you have some questions on it, but be very careful. Okay, because I don't want a costly mistake like this to happen again to you, to us, to the freight, anything like that. Okay, if you do have questions or more questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. A lot of you have already, but that's good. I love the dialogue. I love talking through these things to make sure that you guys are being safe out there, and anything we can do to help you with that, I am more than happy to do. So be careful out there. Okay, we're still not done with winter, and until next time, I always say this, but I always mean it, drive safe.